Today I'm going to show you my base XP record in the Tier 8 Premium German Destroyer Elbing. You might have already seen this game if you watched my stream on Friday, because that is when it happened, but I wanted to go back and do some post-commentary analysis because I didn't really talk about why I had gotten so much XP at the end of the game during the stream. But that's what recording the footage and going back can do for you. We can discuss exactly why I end up with the XP that I do, which is 3,700 base XP, just 300 XP away from 4,000. That's the highest XP that I've ever achieved in this particular ship, according to my stats page, and the reasons that we get the XP are actually pretty crystal clear. So to begin with, we spawn in the center, which is sort of a tricky spawn for any ship that you want to play, including destroyers. And on a map like this, I can't remember the name. Is it called Islands of Ice, maybe? Don't remember. In any case, when you have a map set up like this particular one is, a lot of people don't even try to play the center. So we get into the cap. There's basically nothing that looks like it's going to approach it. We had a cruiser in tow with us. It's an Alaska. But as you can see, he's been spotted, and he's taking fire from the Reds, so he's been forced to turn out and kite away. No matter, there's a Khabarovsk that's pointing his bow sort of this way, near the Alpha Cap, and then there's a minnow over here. We're going to take a speculatory shot at the minnow. The results are not great, only 3,000 damage, and we are spotted, but everybody's so far away from us that nobody's really shooting, and we may be able to get away with this maneuver. Except for that diligent Khabarovsk over there. He's realized there's a destroyer in the center cap, he shot at us, and of course he has reset us. Now the damage he's done has not been catastrophic. We do have 30,000 hit points, which I think is more than any destroyer in this entire game. And the Khabarovsk barely takes away 1,000 of them, just over in fact. The Elbing, kind of like the Khabarovsk, does have some armor plating that's good for shattering destroyer high explosive. It's got 25mm sides, so it's an exceptionally tanky destroyer in compared to the rest. Most of them have 19 or 20mm of armor, so they can be penetrated by basically anything. But once you start getting 25mm plating like the Elbing, or I think the Gearing also has it, and maybe the Sumner does, I can't remember, but once you start getting 25mm plating, it means you start shattering 127mm HE, and thus you are tanky in Destroyer v Destroyer fights. But right there, we managed to solo cap the cap. Now that is worth a lot of XP. You know what else is worth a lot of XP? Taking away about 100% of the hit points of any particular ship. Enter the minnow out there, 10 kilometers away, flat broadside to us. He's gone out and he started to reverse, so we've accounted for that, and so far scored 6 citadels against him. There's more to come as well, with another 3 there, so that's 9. And the final salvo, as we beach ourselves into the rock there, that is, what, 12 citadels in total? Almost a full health minnow reduced to 0 HP. That is the power of the Elbing. It's not like any other destroyer in this game. In fact, it's a destroyer that I recommend highly. It costs 1.4 million global XP, but there are few things this unique and this fun to spend your global XP on in the store. So I highly recommend these things, especially if you have been the victim of a light cruiser spam in your destroyer and you want some vengeance. The Elbing is the ship that can do it for you. In any case, now that we've got a pause here, we're evaluating the situation, we can see that our team is about to secure Charlie, and the majority of the Red Force is over on Alpha, so that's where we're going to go in order to provide our assistance. And besides, the one destroyer we had covering the Alpha flank has been sunk. Now while we go there, we should talk a little bit about XP, because there's a lot of people that play this game, and I can tell, just by watching certain teammates or certain enemy ships, there's a lot of people that play this game chasing a large, 6-digit damage number up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now that's fine. I'm not going to tell anybody how they should play the game. If you enjoy getting big damage numbers, don't let me rain on your parade. But there is something you should know, and many of you watching this video probably already know this, but I'll repeat it for the benefit of those who don't. Your raw damage number, whether it says 60,000 like it does now, or 100,000 at the end of a battle, is not, I don't want to say it's completely irrelevant. It is relevant, but the number itself isn't the relevant factor. The relevant factor when it comes to damage is how much HP did you remove from a single ship, because that's how your XP is rated. Removing 100% of the XP from an enemy destroyer, for example, that's not going to yield you a lot of damage. If we did it to the Khabarovsk out here, we'd have about 20,000 damage. But removing 100% of the HP from a battleship, that is going to yield you a high number, probably around 70, 80,000, depending on the tier. One number looks more impressive than the other at surface glance, but in terms of XP, your XP is weighted by the percentage of a ship's HP that you remove. And so far, you've seen us remove almost 100% of the HP from the Minotaur. And then, of course, we got some good hits on the Khabarovsk. I think we hit him at 1 point for 7k, so we've taken a fair percentage of his HP too. And we have solo capped the Bravo cap. Solo capping is also worth a tremendous amount of XP. So we've done 3 things so far that would already put us into the high base XP area. We'll have to see if we can't do a little bit more. There are only 4 enemy ships left, and there are still 8 minutes left to go in this game, so certainly a bit of a blowout, or at least it looks that way right now. It is going to get a little bit closer before everything is said and done, and normally I don't like to show these blowout games, although they do happen very frequently, it seems like these days, especially when I'm streaming. Oh, and by the way, even at range, the Elbing can do a number to battleships. This AP is really no joke. You have to respect it, and you have to angle against it. But now there are 3 ships left. Almost all of them are here. We've got the Borgonia and the Worcester. The last remaining destroyer is a Sumner near the enemy spawn, kiting away from the rest of the team, so we don't have to worry about him. It's just the Worcester and the Borgonia who are busy working on the Alaska, who has taken up position behind this rock here. He's, I guess, attempting to bow tank and reverse. It's not working out terribly well for him. The Worcester HE spam is just something he simply can't bow tank. And even if the Borgonia has 15-inch guns, they are some of the best 15-inch guns in the game, so he can probably do a good number to the Alaska as well. We're going to launch our torpedoes at the Borgonia, in spite of the fact that the indicator shows that he's going to reverse. You never know what might happen, and the Elbing torpedoes, while they are exceptionally slow, they are very stealthy, and they have, I think, 13.5 kilometers of range. So, there's a chance that when you throw them out, eventually they're going to hit something. But this is the guy we really wanted to see. It's the Worcester. He comes around the corner, he radars us, and bizarrely, he decides not to shoot at us. Instead, he shoots at the Alaska, who I guess he thinks is the biggest threat to him, but he's wrong. He's giving broadside to an Elbing at less than 10 kilometers. Even if it was more than 10 kilometers, it wouldn't be a good idea. We're able to take away practically all of his HP. He's realized his error and he's turning away. Although, actually, maybe he hasn't realized his error because he continues to shoot at the Alaska. You know what? Fair play, actually. Alaska's on very low health. He probably feels he can take the Alaska out more quickly than he can take me, but he can. And, well, we've gotten the high caliber. One of our torpedoes does indeed find the Borgonia and, in fact, sinks him. So that just leaves the Worcester and the Sumner. And, you know what? To the Worcester's credit, it looks like he might have been right. He is able to sink that Alaska, or very near it. The Alaska ends up getting the killing blow on him, but the Worcester gets It's Just a Flesh Wound on the Alaska. So that's pretty much all there is to see in this game, although we are going to do one more XP farming thing before all is said and done. To recap now, though, we've solo capped the Bravo cap, we took away almost 100% of the HP from a Minotaur, we took away a good chunk from a Khabarovsk, we again took away probably 75-80% of the XP from another light cruiser, the Worcester. Got a kill on a battleship as well, which probably was a fair amount of damage, even though it was only one torpedo that did it. And we've got a red cap right in front of our faces. So we have yet another opportunity to solo cap a second cap. And if we do that, that is probably going to put us in the stratosphere of the XP. But note a couple of important factors that allowed us to get this far. We didn't play aggressively with our destroyer. We made sure in the beginning, even as we went into the Bravo cap, that we were facing away toward our spawn and we had an exit plan if things would get too hot and heavy. And we haven't lost a lot of HP in this game at all. The fact that we're still floating is, I know this sounds silly to point it out, but is the reason that we're able to get as much XP as we do. The destroyer is by far and away the most influential class of ship in this game, and if you're going to play destroyers at high tiers, you really need to be able to survive the whole game so that you can make your battle impact felt. At the end of things, it's not that big of a deal, despite the Shimakaze's very sarcastic pinging of the comms wheel. He's been requesting support, he's been sarcastically telling our team, nice job. I noticed that our team is not the one who pushed face first in a Shimakaze to a Sumner. So, decisions, but ultimately it doesn't matter. The Sumner, as you might expect, is going to have no problem making short work of a Shimakaze. There he goes, but of course the Shimakaze does have a Wooster backing him up, so the Sumner's not long for this world either. We have solo capped the Alpha Cap, so we've got the XP there. And now, it just remains to be seen if we can take a little bit of HP away from this Sumner. The shot is out, the accuracy is fabulous, and we do take away some of his HP, but either the Wooster or Alaska takes him down. Couldn't quite tell. In any case, the battle ends with our glorious victory, and here you can see the XP. 3,722. The most I've achieved in the Elbing, and that is because of the percentage of HP we took away from those two cruisers, the destroyers, and the two solo caps. Hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.